Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to do my take on potato soup. This is more a technique than a recipe because I don't measure anything. What you want to do is start out with your potatoes. I've got probably 2 or 3 pounds of russets here that I've peeled and then cut into dice. Then I'm going to rinse them and put them on to boil until they're fork tender. Next we're going to take an onion. This is a yellow onion and it's a smaller one, so I'm going to do the whole thing. Usually I'll do about half of a large onion, but if you like onion, put more in. It's again, this is a technique, not a recipe. Slice it fairly thin and put the slices in with the potatoes to boil and get tender. Now for what I call one of my secret ingredients. I'm taking the leaves and some of the inner stalks off of some celery. It's a little more tender, and the leaves, I know some cooks just throw them away. I always use them because they have a lot of flavor and they're very tender. They've got a good earthy flavor to them. I really enjoy them, so I take them and I will rinse them under cold water. That kind of makes them a little more crisp and a little bit easier to chop up. And then I do a really fine chop on them to get them as small as I can, especially if any of the stems from the celery. And I'll put all that into the pot and let that boil along with the potatoes and onions. Okay, so next comes my next secret ingredient, which is chicken base. It's the Mexican version. I think it's Maggi, whatever, M-A-G-G-I. I don't put salt in the water when I'm doing my potatoes and onions because I use this, because it is quite salty, but it gives it another layer of flavor. I put just a little. There again, you want to taste as you cook, so make sure you're sampling it as you go on. As you'll see here in a minute, I have a spoon that I'm tasting with, and then I use the ladle and scoop the soup into my spoon so I'm not contaminating the whole pot. But I start with a little, and then if I need more, I add more later. But always taste your food as you're cooking. And judging by this shot, I'm guessing I needed a little bit more, so I'm going to put a little bit more of the chicken base in. Sometimes I'll make several additions throughout the pot of soup. Next, I'm going to put about a half a cup of instant rice, between half a cup and a cup. It just depends on what size, how big of the pot is that you're filling. It's very important to keep this moving after you put it in, because it will settle to the bottom and it'll stick and scorch, and then you're just going to have a real mess. So in this shot, I'm getting a tater soup facial. couldn't see anything out of it, but boy, I wish you had smell-o-vision. It really smells good. It's starting to come together as this, you're starting to get the smell of the final product. Okay, so it's looking like my potatoes are tender. So now on to the next step, which is I put in a couple tablespoons of butter. Let that mix in. While the butter's melting, I will prep my next ingredient, which is going to be some pepper jack cheese, but it's pepper jack with habanero. I find that it gives just a little more flavor, another layer. We're building several layers of flavor and putting a little pizzazz in it. For the pot that I usually do about 4 to 6 slices, and I cut it up in little chunks so it'll melt quickly and evenly and not just fall to the bottom and have a big old blob. Now I'm going to add half and half to the soup base. I can't tell you how much, I just do it till it feels good. And I turn my fire down. That's very important when you're putting cheese in. If it boils, your cheese will break and it'll be grainy and it might taste good, but it will not have a good mouthfeel. So now I'm cutting up the cheese into little cubes. I just stack it up and I cut it both ways, and then you'll see how I mix it in. Okay, so as I said before, I add the cheese a little at a time so it doesn't fall to the bottom and stick and burn. I didn't film this, but after all this was done, I did go back and put some diced jalapenos and some of the juice in it because that cheese just I didn't have enough, or didn't put enough in to give it the kick that I wanted. If you don't like it spicy, you can totally eliminate it, but we like it a little on the spicy side. There's the assistant director taking a taste test. And as you can see by the look on her face, she approves. Normally I would have made cornbread to go with this, but we decided to try something different. We found it's a canned product, but it's biscuit cornbread hybrid. They're rolled up like cinnamon rolls. They weren't bad, but I'm gonna go back to my regular cornbread. I just like it better. Okay folks, the soup's done, the cornbread biscuit thing's done. It's time to eat. I hope that you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe and share this with others if you got value out of it. It helps us to grow our channel, and we will see you in the next video. I also want to take this time to thank our guest producer, Thomas, my son. He done a bang-up job on filming this. I hope we can do more projects in the future. It was a little off the cuff, but I hope you all enjoyed.